Welcome to FreedomCast, a podcast dedicated to interviewing star icons and entrepreneurs who have encouraged others to become more healthy and active. My name is Ashton, and it's my pleasure to host you as we take another trip through the fitness industry. It's entertaining and informative, and I hope it makes fitness more exciting and special to you in your own fitness journey. FreedomCast is supported by Freedom Fitness Equipment in Charlotte, North Carolina. Freedom Fitness Equipment serves the health and fitness community nationwide, from free weights and strength equipment for home gyms and studios to cardio and conditioning equipment for commercial spaces. Check them out at freedomfitnessequipment.com. Let's get rolling with today's show. So we're here with Gabi, America's Strongest Woman, and so the podcast is focused on health and fitness icons and entrepreneurs. I just wanted to talk to you about how you got to that point, what even got you into weightlifting in the first place, because, I don't know, most women are not about weightlifting and strength and, achieving that pinnacle of fitness. So really interested in your background.
First of all, thank you for having me.
Yeah.
It's a pleasure. So my journey began actually about 8 years ago when I decided to join the U.S. Army.
Oh, nice.
So originally I'm from Austria, born and raised. I came to the States as an exchange student back in 2007. Couple years of being in America, I just wanted to give back because in America you have a lot of freedom, a lot of opportunities that you don't have in other countries. So I decided to join. And as a soldier, you are required to stay physically in shape at all times. So I started going to the gym, started weightlifting, and it just became instantly a passion of mine. I fell in love with it. Eventually, a coach came up to me and he's like, you should compete. You have the genes for it, you have the drive for it. So I tried myself in bodybuilding. I did a physique competition back in 2018 and realized real quick that my inner fat child was not having it. The diet is, I bow to anybody who does bodybuilding. Super impressive. To stick to those macros every day, I just, I like really, delicious, unhealthy foods at times. So I went on and I tried myself in arm wrestling. Did really well, actually, but it was just still not my niche. So eventually I saw this guy at a gym in Hawaii lifting extremely heavy weights. And I was like, I want to do that. Whatever he does, I want to do it. And eventually he said, hey, on Sundays, we go to this place and we lift really weird, odd-shaped, heavy objects. We either push him overhead or we carry him. Do you want to come and try it out? At first I was like, that's really weird. Like, who would want to do that? But so he took me and I got to meet my first Strongman crew, Lift House 808 in Hawaii. And I absolutely fell in love with it. I could not get enough of it, and I was always looking forward to next Sunday to get better, to work on my technique, to lift heavier. And eventually the Army actually found me on Instagram, and they saw that I was doing that on the side. And they said, hey, we're putting together this fitness team. It's called U.S. Army Warrior Fitness Team. Do you want to come and be part of it?
Oh, wow.
And lift for the Army and compete for the Army? And I was like, this is my passion. I love it. Now I can make it my career. Absolutely, I'm in. So about a year and a half ago, I moved to Kentucky. We're based out of Fort Knox. And from then on, I started competing first at a Platinum Plus, was invited to Nationals, got my pro card there, got my invite to the Arnolds, competed there. And then last year in November, I competed at America's Strongest Woman. And it just, everything seemed to have fallen just right in place for me. And I ended up winning.
That's phenomenal.
And it was probably one of the most exciting moments of my life.
Yeah, no kidding. What was there any particular? I know you just enjoyed weightlifting innately. Was there any particular motivation for that, or was it just, hey, heavy things go up, heavy things go down? Awesome.
Pretty much.
Okay.
I just. Everybody was like, "You're made for this. This is your sport. This is what fits you." And I just did really well in it, so I continued, and I'm hoping to continue for a long time.
Gotcha. As part of the being in the Army, what was your role there? Like, any progression through the military, or is it just like you being the representative and showing other women how to be strong?
Do you mean like my career path
yes,
in the Army?
Correct.
So I started off being a combat medic, 68 Whiskey, for the first 4 years.
Okay.
I was then asked to be a recruiter, ended up being a special forces recruiter for 3 years in Hawaii.
Oh, wow.
And then I've been on the team now for almost 2 years.
Okay, that's phenomenal. Are there any carryovers from Army training that you find in weightlifting were particularly applicable?
Actually, vice versa. So the Army just implemented a new PT test.
Mm-hmm.
It's called the Army Combat Fitness Test.
Mm-hmm.
And there's actually a couple of exercises involved that we do in Strongman. There's the deadlift.
Mm-hmm.
There's also a carry during the sprint drag carry. And there is the leg tuck and a couple of other exercises, but it definitely carries over.
Gotcha. Any mentality any mentality that carried over that kind of helped you, or did you, or were you just already mentally strong and tough getting in, being part of the Army and also weightlifting?
The Army definitely has taught me discipline.
Yeah.
It's a very structured organization. And I think that has carried over in weightlifting because I just took it more seriously.
Mm-hmm.
Everything that I put my hands on now, I try to do it give it 100%.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what the Army is all about, discipline and structure.
Gotcha. Any particular, what did your training regimen look like? Sorry, leading up to America's Strongest Woman.
So actually I have coaches. So Kim and Adam Dirks they're phenomenal. They helped me through the process of getting ready. And it was a tough time for me at the time. I was mentally going through a few things, but they kept me on point. So maybe training-wise, I still did my regular training that they prescribed to me, but it was more of a mental thing for me at that point that they helped me push through and actually go and compete.
Gotcha. Let me see, like here. I was talking with somebody the other day about just women in weightlifting and this whole concept that I find to be really off-putting, which is, getting bulky and looking like a man, quote unquote, with women in weightlifting. Like, what's your response to that? Because I don't find it to be, first of all, you can't ever look exactly like a guy. But the other thing is, like, in order to tone or whatever, you have to put on some level of muscle. What's your response to women who just don't want to get into it, want to run, or completely avoid the weightlifting and resistance training aspect?
I mean, I wouldn't say that this shouldn't be weightlifting, but I should tell them just to follow their own dreams. If running is what they love to do, then do that. But don't not weightlift just because somebody else is saying something about it. Yeah. Because somebody telling me that I look like a man or I look too bulky, that's not my problem. Yeah. That's his insecurity that he's trying to put on me. Sure. So I'm not worried about it. I tell him, yeah, you're just worried that I'm going to outlift you. That's okay. So yep. It is what it is. But I encourage all the women out there, no matter what your passionate is, defy society. Yeah. Don't care about what everybody else says, because at the end of the day, you got to be happy with what you do. Sure. Are there days where I want to be a little smaller? Absolutely. Some of my clothes don't fit. So, yes. But on the other hand, I love the attention I get because I feel like I can empower other women to do the same. Maybe not to an extent that I'm doing. Strongman is a very, very tough job. Yeah. But go out there, lift the weights. Sure. Have fun with it.
Absolutely. What is so for a strong woman? What is a daily meal? I'll call it a meal plan, but what does that look like every single day?
So, like you said, luckily I can be a little bit more lenient with what I eat every day. Yep. I do take in about 4,000 calories a day. Okay. On a heavy lifting day, probably closer to 5,000. Okay. I eat 7 times a day. That includes 2 protein shakes and then 5 actual meals. Wow. Each of them are about a pound of food. I do my own meal plans, so I do count macros most of the time. Okay. And what I do is I carb cycle. So on my light lifting days, I'll eat less carbs. On my heavier runs, I eat more carbs. Okay. Just to keep that energy level throughout the day going. Gotcha. But yeah, so I mean, if you want a breakdown, sure. I get up at 7:30. I have my first protein shake, take my supplements. Then I have a breakfast smoothie that has Greek yogurt in it. Usually some kind of fruit, either apple, raspberries, bananas, or strawberries, milk. And then I also put some green power powder in there. I don't know if you know what that is.
I think so, yeah.
It's like it's a combination of all the green vegetables there are, but in powder form, so I don't have to eat them throughout the day. Nice.
You got away with it.
Mix it in. Then around 10 o'clock, I have my first meal. It's usually 6 ounces of meat, 5 ounces of some form of carb, so potatoes, rice, and then 4 ounces of a green vegetable, either spinach, green beans, broccoli, or beans. Gotcha. And then I have 3 more meals of that. And then after my 2 to 3 hour workout, I'll have a protein shake. And then right before bed, I cut out the carbs. So I only have some really, really lean steak and spinach.
Gotcha. Whew, man. I don't know if, I mean, I like to eat. What are some of your favorite meals?
Actually, steak.
Steak.
I love steak, and I have it every day.
Okay.
And it works for me.
And do you live? I'm sorry, I'm not. Do you live like in and around the Texas area, so you can get a steak anytime? Or
so no, I'm actually stationed out of Fort Knox, Kentucky.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Awesome. Let's see. So as you were training for this, I mean, and getting stronger and getting more powerful, did you ever encounter, particularly from the guys, like any hate leading up to becoming America's Strongest Woman, or is it kind of smooth sailing and you got a lot of followers and support leading up to it?
I can say I've been very blessed.
Yeah.
Have a lot of supporters, especially in my gym in Louisville, Everyday Athletes. There is about 15 other strongman competitors in there. Most of them are men, and they are excited for me. Every time I hit a PR, they're excited. They're clapping. They're cheering me on, pushing me. So no, every time I've hit a milestone, either if it was for me or for my coaches, there's always been somebody there that's told me this is great.
Yeah.
I've never had anybody to say, oh no, you shouldn't be doing this, or this is awful, why are you doing this to your body?
Gotcha. Gotcha.
Actually, correction, my mother is very worried about my health.
What is she worried about? Like, you're incredibly strong.
She's worried that I'm breaking my back doing all the deadlifts.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, she watched me pick up a couple weeks ago. I hit a PR of 525 on a deadlift.
Holy cow.
And it was probably the slowest deadlift of my life. It took me about 20 seconds to get that thing up, but it went up.
Nice.
And my mom watched the video, and the facial expressions just said it all. She was so worried. She's like, yeah, I thought any second your back is just going to give out and you're just going to collapse. And I'm just... I love her to death, obviously.
Yeah.
But... of course, I'm one of her kids, so she's worried, and I get it.
Yeah.
But besides her, everybody else is a huge supporter.
Fantastic. Is there a favorite lift for you? Do you like to specialize? Over like with Robert, he's huge on the overhead press, or do you like?
I'm the same way.
Okay, awesome.
Love overhead pressing. I recently set the world record in the Mauser block overhead press for the middleweight women.
Okay.
If that tells you how much I love it.
Nice.
And I'm planning on setting a few other ones, working with Guinness Book of World Records at the moment.
Oh.
To set a world record for them. And then later this year, I would like to try myself at the axle cleaning press to set a world record there. So we'll see how that goes.
Very nice. Now, for Strongman, I've watched a few of the competitions. Do the implements change literally every time? Or I know there's some consistency like with logs and that kind of thing, but do they just kind of throw random crap in there and say, hey, lift this up?
Sometimes, yeah. I've encountered a few competitions. I'm like, how did you come up with this?
Here's a block of wood.
Well, for example, the log, as you said, it's usually an overhead press.
Yeah.
Then I went to a competition and you had to carry it in front of you and just walk 50 feet with it.
Oh, no.
And it was hard. I'm not even going to lie. It was different because my body was not ready to carry it. It was expecting to press it overhead. But it was definitely one of those. I was like, how did you come up with this? This is very weird. But it ended up being fun. But yeah, there's definitely consistency. You see the main ones like the farmers, the yoke, the stones, the log. You see those usually over and over again. But sometimes there's fun ones like OSG, the official Strongman games coming up. They have a car walk in it. So they literally inside of a car and it's strapped to you and you carry it.
Oh, wow.
So that it looks fun. It is a lot of fun to do. So I can't wait to try that out.
That's phenomenal. Just so people have context, like how much are you lifting on a regular basis? Some of your PRs?
Overhead press, I've hit 225. Deadlift, 525. Squatted 405. Benched 300. Still planning on hitting 315 by end of this year. I'm working on it. It's just benching is not something that strongmen regularly do.
Okay.
Because that kind of movement is not really involved in any of the events that we have.
Yeah.
But it's just a personal goal of mine that I've set for the end of year.
Atlas stones?
Atlas stones, I've hit a 270 before.
Nice.
I have a competition coming up here in August that requires me to do a 315 stone.
Ooh.
So we'll see if it's gonna happen.
Wow. With the what's the technique for an Atlas stone? Because I've seen different people do slightly different recommendations. I mean, by the way, do you also use tacky when you're lifting it?
Yeah, when the stones get heavier, like anything over 215, I want to say I put tacky on.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Gotcha.
And you can tell my forearms have suffered.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna have permanent scars from that now, but I'll take it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so any particular technique that you find is more helpful getting that stone up, or is it just kind of brute strength getting it to the platform?
No, there's absolutely technique. With all strongman movements, there's always a technique that can make you faster and better at it, right? More efficient. Atlas stones, one thing I've learned over the last couple of years, especially just recently from Adam and Kim Dirks, is there's a hip thrust involved. So as soon as you have it on your lap, you're actually going back with your hips and then thrusting forward to get the momentum going. And I used to never do that.
Yeah.
And that explosiveness actually helps you get that stone up so much quicker and with less energy needed. So definitely, nice. There's a lot of videos out there, and if you actually look closely, most of the professionals will make that little hip thrust. So
interesting. As far as your personal brand, so is this is doing strongman and being in the fitness industry, is this your full time now, or do you have anything else that you're doing off to the side, or any other business that you're doing off to the side?
No, so this is pretty much my full-time job for the Army.
Okay.
I'm currently also a full-time student. So that's kind of my side hustle right now, if you want to say. So I'm trying to finish up my degree and actually switch over to the officer side in the Army.
Okay. What's your degree?
It's business administration management.
Okay. Very good. How's that been going? So, are you doing that online or locally?
Yeah, it's currently online. So I have taken classes in person, but with me traveling all the time now, I'm gone usually every other weekend or so. It's just easier online. It's going real well. I'm keeping up my 4.0 and hoping to finish it off like that. So
that's phenomenal. Any impetus for wanting to get that finished, or you just wanted to have that on there?
Well, so to become an officer in the Army, you have to have a degree.
Okay.
So once I have that finished, I can switch over to the officer side.
Phenomenal. Are you? What's your? By the way, what's the goal with the Army? Are you trying to just? Is there a? I know nothing about the levels within the Army, so I apologize. Right. Yeah, but are you trying to hit a certain officer station, or?
You mean a certain rank?
Or a certain rank, sorry.
That's all right. So I'm currently a staff sergeant. I would like to hit captain or major by the time that I retire.
Okay.
So to retire in the Army, you have to have served 20 years.
Okay.
So that's my end goal. I've currently been in for 8, so I got 12 more to go, but I would like to finish it off.
Very nice. Yeah. Very nice. I know you're a big fan of memes, and I've seen... So you need to check out Gabi's page because she's putting out memes in her stories all the time. Is there any one in particular that you absolutely love that you just continuously repost, or
not repost, but repost. Baby Yoda ones? Yes. All the time. Yes. That's become a thing, and I think people have caught on to that because they actually sent me memes to post. And not just that, people have gotten me Baby Yoda gifts.
No
That's
way.
how far it's gotten. Yeah, I have T-shirts at home. I have this Squishmallow. That's what they're called. It's like you know what I mean, the big stuffed animal. I mean, it's massive. It's this big. It's ridiculous. I have Tupperware now with Baby Yoda on it.
No way.
So yeah. So if you follow my page, there will definitely be anywhere from 5 to 10 Baby Yoda memes a day. So if you're a fan too, please follow me.
That's amazing. Are you a big Star Wars fan or closet nerd or anything like that?
Closet nerd, maybe, yes.
Awesome.
I'll put it out there. But no, I loved Mandalorian. It was an amazing show. I still will never call him Grogu. It's just never going to happen. It's going to be Baby Yoda forever. Yeah. And I have had some heated discussions about that. So there may not be discussions about Strongman that we disagree, but a lot of my Strongman competitors disagree with me on Baby Yoda. So but no, that's it.
Nice, nice. Star Trek or any of those other ones that you're into?
Not really.
Not really?
Okay. Just kind of got stuck with The Mandalorian, yeah.
Nice. That's a great show. Are they coming? I think they're coming out with a season 2 here soon, so that'll be exciting. For women who want to, going back to the topic of women in strongman and also just doing resistance training, any advice that you'd have for somebody who is just starting out and wants to get into weightlifting or even strongman specifically?
My advice would definitely be for strongman to find yourself a crew that does it on a regular basis that you can jump in. even if there's no pros involved, right? If you have other amateurs, they can help you out with technique already. They can motivate you to keep going because they've also been through the frustration of, I don't know how to do this. You know, I can't get the technique down. Like I've had those stages where I was like, okay, I don't want to go back next Sunday because I just can't get that lift, and it makes me mad. But just staying motivated and dedicated to the sport, and find yourself an environment that put emphasis on, you know, this is gonna take time. You're gonna get efficient eventually. It's more of a long-term game, I feel.
Yeah, gotcha.
So.
Is there a favorite setting for you to work out in, whether it be a commercial gym or by the way, do you have your own home gym?
Yeah, so Fort Knox, the Army was nice enough to give us our gym for the U.S. Army for a fitness team.
Yeah.
So half of it is for the CrossFit side, so we have a couple CrossFitters on the team, and the other side they built specifically for Strongman. So we have all the Strongman implements that we need to train on for competitions, and if there is one coming up with an implement that we don't have, they're nice enough to get it for us.
Wow.
So definitely spoiled on that end. So I have that gym, which I'm currently the only one really training. So I also go to another commercial gym, Everyday Athletes in Louisville, that has more of Strongman implements because all the Strongman competitors that are locally there go to that gym.
Okay.
So I do stop by there once a week or so to do Strongman events with them. It's just more motivating to have somebody else, you know, there cheering you on, especially if they're a fellow competitor.
Sure, absolutely. Is there I'm in the used equipment business for fitness equipment. Is there any particular piece of equipment that you really enjoy using on a regular basis, or is it kind of all over the place?
Big fan of yokes.
Okay.
Yeah, no matter what the size, because there's so many different kinds of them. So you never know. Yeah. So there's just some off-brand ones that you never heard of, and they're just different sizes, right? So that the width is different, or that the width of the bar itself is different. So it's just interesting when I go to different gyms, when I travel around, to see what kind of yoke they have. That's the first thing I look for. So yesterday at the Metro Flex, the castle, I looked, and it was some off-brand that I've never seen before, and I would have loved to have the opportunity to run it. Maybe when I come back, I will. But it's just one thing that I think that every gym has a different type of.
Okay. Interesting. Yeah, because I always thought the yoke was just, you know, the same length, type, that.
So we have two different yokes at my home gym, and one is 300 pounds and the other one is 145.
Wow.
Just to give you the difference, yeah.
Okay.
So the big one I actually use for my stone over bar. Because it's so heavy, it's not going to move when I try to push the stone over.
Gotcha.
So.
Gotcha. Interesting. Yeah, the equipment business is crazy. Are you? Sorry, I should know this. It's probably on your page. Are you currently sponsored by any brands in the fitness equipment space?
Not equipment,
Okay.
but kind of fit, kind of fat.
Okay, cool.
The clothing line. I'm one of their sponsored athletes. I've been with them since pretty much the beginning.
Nice.
And I love their clothing. The quality is great. So you should definitely check them out. And what they do is they combine the love for food with lifting equipment. So if you look, for example, there's a shirt in there that has a pizza slice on it. But if you look closely, the pepperoni are actually 25 kilo plates. So I absolutely adore their clothing line. It's amazing.
That's phenomenal. Yeah, I know they're very comfortable too. Is Robert's on their sponsored athlete list, I think, too, right? Is that? No, he's not. Okay.
I don't think so.
Okay, never mind. Got it. So sorry. Where have you? What other strong women or other athletes have you looked up to in these past years, just leading up to becoming America's Strongest Woman, and anybody that you kind of espouse their technique or, you know, really kind of follow after, or do you have your own very specific training style that is completely unique from anybody else you've ever seen?
Unique in a sense. When I first started lifting in Strongman, I used just brute force strength because I didn't really know technique. But so, like you said, eventually you look up to people, and for me it was Kristen Rhodes.
Okay.
She is probably one that has spent, of all the strong women out there, spent the most time in Strongman. I mean, she has been in there forever. She's one of the originals. She has definitely helped shape Strongman for strong women the way it is today. For other people that I looked up to for technique, Donna Moore.
Okay.
She's amazing on the circus dumbbell. So is Lifa. But I think my favorite to this day is one of my coaches, actually, Kim Dirks.
Okay.
Yeah, I watch her videos all the time. Whenever I'm struggling with an event, the first thing I do is go on her Instagram page and look how she does it. I mean, down to the fact what kind of gear is she wearing. Is she wearing sleeves with this or not? Like, I will try to copy her to the T.
Wow. Nice. If you were to happen to one day, I don't know, for whatever reason, decide I'm going to quit Strongman and do something completely different, do you have an alternative? Would you go into something else?
So somebody actually just asked me that yesterday at the Fitcon, and I honestly thought about it, and I wouldn't mind trying myself again in bodybuilding.
Okay.
Just one more time.
Really?
Yep. One more time and see how I would do today. Because I feel like over the last couple of years, I've definitely become more disciplined, and it's become easier for me with my meal plans. Gotcha. So that's what I was struggling with in the beginning.
Yeah.
That I didn't have cheap meals, but I found a way to get around that. So maybe I'll try myself one more time. We'll see.
Have you ever gone through one of those cheat meal days where you're just going I think The Rock does something crazy, like 10,000
I love watching him when he has his cheat days, and it's either like, I don't know how many pizzas he eats, or in a table full of sushi. I wish I could do that, but I would probably have to start all over again. It was my progress. So no, I'll have smaller cheap meals, and it's fine for me too. I usually have like 2 or 3 sushi rolls and call it a day.
Gotcha.
So
gotcha. Cool.
Nothing like him.
Gotcha. Can you talk about your tattoos a little bit?
Absolutely. So the one on my arm, because I spent 3 years in Hawaii, and so the guy that I was talking about earlier who helped me get into Strongman, he's Hawaiian. Oh, cool. And the entire Strongman crew there is Hawaiian. And they took me in, and it felt almost like my second family. Oh. Even though not by blood, but definitely by mentality, and we're still in contact. We talk every other day at least. And I'm hoping to one day go back to Hawaii and be able to lift and live with them again. But so yeah, in the honor of that time out there that got me into the sport, I got a Hawaiian tattoo. I have more. I have another one on my leg. It's the Austrian emblem. Okay. Just it's more of a momentum because I grew up there. Yeah. So I want it kind of with me at all times. So every time I look down, I remember where I came from. And yeah.
Nice. Being from Austria, do you have dual citizenship, or how's that work?
So I do not. When I joined the army, I sadly had to give up the Austrian citizenship to become a U.S. citizen. Okay. So which you have to do anyways if you have served for more than 8 years in the U.S. Army. You have to be a U.S. citizen. Gotcha.
Anywhere you've traveled has been particularly your favorite, either through strongman events or anything else?
In the U.S., definitely L.A. and Hawaii. Yeah. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Expensive, but beautiful. Yep. Got to throw that out there too. But overseas, I would definitely say I've been to Iceland once. I got to see the Northern Lights, and the smoked salmon out there is just to die for. It was just beautiful. They have hot wells out there. While you sit in them, you can watch the Northern Lights. It's beautiful. It's super peaceful too. It's super quiet out there. Yeah. Not a lot of people live there. So, besides that, maybe Korea. Okay. I got to travel there during my time as a Special Forces recruiter. Nice. And the culture is just very different, and I love trying all the new food. I always try to, when I go somewhere, to actually like endouse myself in the culture and just try new foods and see all the sights, and it was just very impressive. Sure.
This is thinking way down the road, so I'm not implying that you're retiring anytime soon, but when or if you decide to retire from Strongman, are you planning on starting? What's the long-term goal? Is it to build your brand to a certain point where you're gonna start your own fitness line, or have you even thought that far ahead about?
I have not. I mean, I still have 12 years left in the army. Yeah. So I'm gonna give that 100% of my attention. Sure. I'm not really. People are saying, "Oh, you want to build your brand," but I'm not like that. I don't want to build my brand. I just want to be out there to empower other women. That's my end goal. It's not for me. It's not for the money. It's not for anything else. It's not for the fame. I just want other women to come into the sport. Yeah.
Do you think there are enough women in the sport that are even interested?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah, absolutely. Awesome. I mean, I get messages all the time asking me the same question you asked me earlier. How do I get into it? Yeah. Like, what do I need to do? And it's really a simple answer. Find the gym that has the equipment, that has people who actually already do it, and just join them. Yeah. Because one thing I've realized real quick, no matter where I go, whenever I travel, as soon as there's other strongman competitors, they welcome me with open arms. They're like, yeah, come train with us. Absolutely, we'll be there this time. Just come jump in.
Yeah.
There's never been a time where like, no, you can't come, or we don't want you here. Never.
Awesome.
So, and that's what I love about the strongman community versus the bodybuilding community. It's not cutthroat. We're a family. We cheer each other on. We may compete against each other, but we'll cheer each other on and push each other.
Yeah, that was. I was watching a few videos about guys who were talking about even the prep for strongman is, people are just giving each other technique tips, and it's not trying to throw somebody off. It's actually trying to help them with the event, which is so bizarre. Like, you would think, I'm just going to sit in my corner and, stay to myself and try to screw the other person over. But that's amazing.
And I love it. I love it because we encourage each other. And with helping each other out, it's almost like you're making it harder for yourself in a way. But it also means that your competition is going to be harder and you're going to be more proud if you win.
Yeah.
So
well, you want to, like mentally, you want to compete against the best at their best.
Exactly.
Yeah. Very nice. Yeah, I don't think I've ever I think I've picked up a log once, and that's challenging enough. Just the actual implement. So kudos to you.
Thank you.
That's amazing.
Yeah, the log is one of those implements you got to have technique down.
Yeah.
Otherwise, the weight is not going to go up.
Yeah, it's not the same. It's not that people don't. For people in our audience who don't understand, it's not the same as cleaning the weight or even or some similarities, but like it's not deadlifting or because you've got to get the thing overhead and rest it. Like there was a big argument lately about belt cleans. Did you see this?
Absolutely.
Okay, so give me your opinion on this.
Okay, so if we go back, originally belt cleans they were never allowed.
Okay.
Couldn't do it because it's helping you, right? If you rest that bar in a belt, all of a sudden all the pressure goes away. Like there's you only have to hold on to it. You don't actually have to lift the weight anymore at that point. So belt cleans obviously it makes the lift much easier. I do it, not gonna lie.
Yeah.
It's gonna be allowed in my upcoming competition in August, so I'm taking full advantage of that. But yeah, originally it was not allowed. But okay, here's my point.
Yeah.
I think it's always up to the promoter. The promoter is the one that's gonna decide the rules for the competition. Are you allowed to wear deadlift suit or not? Are you allowed to use straps for this one? Are you allowed to use tacky for a stone? And that's how it should be. The promoter is going to be the final say. And if he allows belt cleans, then so be it.
Yeah. I suppose if you have a big belly, too, it could also be an advantage just resting.
Oh, absolutely. And that's my problem because I'm so lean at this point that I don't have anything to rest on.
Yeah.
So it definitely makes it harder even for the lightweight men.
Yeah.
They're pretty small, too. So it's hard to have anything there to actually hold that weight on it. So, yeah.
Yeah, because there was arguments back and forth about, if you're in this weight class, you should have a handicap or something. If you're, whether or not you're allowing belt cleans, or if you're not allowing belt cleans, somebody can just rest it on their chest or something. It's like, I don't know. It's an interesting discussion, but I don't know how much.
So the thing is also promoters put the rules out before you sign up, most of the time.
Yeah.
Some change last minute, and that's just a sport.
Yeah.
But if you sign up for a competition and belt cleans are allowed and then you complain about it, that's when I'm like, but you did this to yourself. Like, so it's up to you, If you don't want a belt clean, then don't sign up for a competition that has a belt clean in it. It's that simple.
What are some other folks that you've been? I know you probably met tons of celebrities within the fitness space. Anybody in particular that stands out to you?
Got to spend some time with Martin Lises. He came to Fort Knox and trained with us for a couple days. And he must be the most laid-back strongman I've ever met.
Wow.
And he's so humble. He's so down to earth. I was back then, I had just become a pro, so I was small still in the strongman world. And he took the time to help me out with my sandbag toss. Oh. Like, he actually took 15 minutes out of his day to stand there and show me exactly what to do.
Wow.
And he probably doesn't notice, but that meant the world to me. Because that made me fall even more in love with the sport, because I realized no matter what level you are, if a fellow strongman competitor is asking you for help, they'll help you out. Yeah. So that was amazing.
Yeah. Walk me through kind of the mentality of being a strong woman and what it takes to get to your level, whether it be mentally or physically. I mean, do you have to be a certain kind of person to get to that, or do you really honestly think like anybody can do that?
I do think anybody can do it.
Okay.
Obviously, to get to my level, you do have to have like a competitive drive.
Okay.
And always push yourself every day when you go to the gym. I try to give it 110%.
Yeah.
If you're just doing it for fun, that's great too. You're probably gonna stay an amateur, and that's fun too because you get to do all the fun little competitions, in the area that I don't get to do anymore. But no, anybody with the right team, the right motivation, and the right support, specifically from your family, if you have a partner, can do it. Absolutely.
Gotcha. That's awesome. Where are you going to be at Fitcon this afternoon? You just hanging around the venue?
So the U.S. Army actually has a booth set up. Cool. So we'll have a little tent. Definitely, if you're listening to this, come stop by. We're giving out T-shirts from the U.S. Army Warrior Fitness team if you can lift over 340 pounds on the deadlift.
Wow.
Because the new ACFT, to get 100% on the deadlift event, you have to lift 340 pounds 3 times. So my impression of Army PT was that it was all running and no strength. So maybe you said this before and I missed it, but like when did that change? So they implemented the ACFT, the Army Combat Fitness Test, which is 6 events to include the deadlift, about a year and a half ago.
Oh, okay.
It's still in the beginning stages, so it's not a permanent thing yet per se, but I'm sure some of it will stick because we're going away from the focus on that if you run fast, that's all it takes for you to be a great soldier. Yeah. And we're finally implementing, hey, you have to have upper body strength, you have to have a core strength, you have lower body strength, and you still have to be fast. So that's what makes a great soldier in a sense. So
gotcha.
Yep.
I mean, you've got to have the endurance, but I hate running so much. By the way, what is your least favorite exercise? Do you have
running?
It's running. Okay.
Yeah. So we have to take that PT test twice a year, every 6 months.
Yeah.
So when people ask me how much do you run, I'm like 4 miles a year. That's it, because it's 2 miles for each test, and that's all I run.
How fast do you have to run for that? Is it like a 10 or 13?
So now they changed the whole standards. There's no age categories anymore. So it's equal, gender equal. So men and women have to run the same time, but it's specific to your job. So my actual job in the Army right now is a recruiter. Mm-hmm. And as a recruiter, I have about 21 minutes to run those 2 miles.
Okay.
And I'm taking full advantage of those 21 minutes.
Yes. I would too.
But the rest of the events, so I just recently took it. You can get 600 points for the entire PT test, and I scored a 551, which is pretty high for a female, so I'll take it.
Yeah.
And people were disappointed that I didn't get 600, and I don't think they understand that I weigh 180 pounds and I don't run very fast anymore. So there was no way I was gonna. So the max time to get the 100% on the run would have been below a 13-minute 2 mile. So that's
below a 13-minute 2 mile.
2 miles. So 6:30-minute mile. So kudos to all the people out there who are running that. It's not me.
You'd be skinny as a rail to be like even close to that time. I think
it's. I mean, I've watched a couple guys that actually got the 600 on the PT test. But yeah, all of them are pretty lean. Don't want to call them skinny, but lean. Yeah.
Gotcha. Oh man, for somebody who would hate running, do you have any alternative cardio and conditioning exercise? I know you've got to keep your cardio and conditioning up for those events, but any good alternatives that you really enjoy?
So sprints really help a lot with the actual 2 mile run. The Army does that actually quite frequently. We have the 60-120s. So you sprint for 60 seconds and then you jog for 120 seconds, and you do that for 8 rounds or so. But besides that, I love biking. So we have a couple bikes at the gym. I hop on that. Rowing, I've tried myself. I just can't get that technique down, and it feels like I'm just using my back the entire time, and I'm just doing pulls, and it looks really funky, I'm sure, and funny, I should say, to watch me try to row. But yeah, the bike usually.
Gotcha.
That's my thing. Yeah, it's very low impact on my knees and hips. Sure. Which I get enough impact from all the Strongman events anyways.
I was about to say, yeah.
Yeah.
And it also scales with your strength level with the fan, right? Sorry, are you talking about like a fan bike or like a bike you can adjust the resistance on?
Yeah, where you can adjust the strength.
Gotcha.
Yep.
Cool. Yeah, because I've got a Echo fan bike at home, and that's nice because the stronger I am, the harder it pushes essentially against. So.
That sounds awful.
It's really brutal. I honestly like that's like between that and rowing, I can take that for cardio and conditioning. But again, running or I don't know. Have you tried swimming or anything like that?
Yeah. I've swam before too. Just with COVID, the pools were shut down for a while.
Oh, right.
So I stopped that. I used to swim a lot in Hawaii. Obviously, the beaches.
Nice.
So I would go out there in the ocean, which is much harder than a pool. And I didn't realize that.
Sure.
Yeah. Especially during the winter times. That's actually the surf season out there because the waves are really high.
Yeah.
So
nice.
Yeah.
Have you tried surfing?
I have not. I'm more of a scuba diving kind of girl. So,
cool.
Yeah, I got my certification while I was out there, and I got to go wreck diving. And there's a couple of sunken airplanes there in Hawaii. So
no way.
Yeah, so it was really neat.
Gotcha. Any other places you've gone other than Hawaii to go scuba diving or?
No, that's it. Yeah, I was out there for 3 years, and it's warm year round. So no matter what. So I've considered doing it while I'm in Kentucky, but I don't like the cold. And it gets really cold in the water. It just really does, no matter what you wear. So decided to wait until I get stationed somewhere warm again.
Sure. Do you have to get certified for, especially the deep dives, to go into those wrecks?
So the ones I went to, luckily, weren't as deep.
Okay.
So I have my open water certification, and then we had a guide that guided us down. And he was a master diver, so he could take us with him.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah.
That's gotta be so cool.
It was so beautiful. I mean, if you've never been to Hawaii, it should definitely be on your bucket list. I mean, what you see on TV about it, it's just like the different blue tones of the water, the colorful fish. You can swim with the sharks, and you'll randomly see massive turtles on the beach just sleeping. Yeah, it's and the people are so nice and welcoming, and the food. They go out fishing every morning at like 2-3 a.m.
Oh.
So by the time the fish is really fresh, or any of the seafood is very, very fresh, because they'll bring it in and then you eat it for lunch.
Wow.
So I miss it, especially there's something called poke, which is raw fish with sauce and rice, and that's one of my favorite meals, and I just haven't found another place where I can get it as good as it was in Hawaii.
It seems like it'd be very unique to at least on the mainland, probably unique to the coast,
Probably, yeah.
So that's amazing. Yeah, Hawaii is gorgeous. We wanted to go out there for quite some time, but just haven't had the chance. And it's quite the flight from the east. We're in Charlotte, based in Charlotte.
Okay,
so
gotcha.
Flying out to Hawaii is a little bit of a trip. But
yeah, it is a trip, but definitely worth it. And if you can spend at least 2 weeks out there, there's so much to see. Besides the beach, there's the mountains, so there's a lot of hikes with waterfalls.
Yeah.
Yeah, so there's one actually specifically I really liked. It was called Cocoa Head.
Okay.
And what it is, there's actually rail tracks up onto the mountain.
No way.
Yeah, so they used to have a defense post up there, so they would use the train tracks to actually bring food and water up there to the soldiers. And now it's open to the public to actually walk it up. And I describe it always, it's like a Stairmaster on steroids. Because at first it starts off not as steep, but then the end is just like this, and your calves, your quads will just be burned up by the time you get up there. But it's so much fun, and then once you're up top, you have the view of the entire island, and it's just it's beautiful.
Wow.
So
of the islands in Hawaii, any one island in particular your favorite?
2 of them. So Maui is beautiful because there's a lot of jungle, still a lot of nature that's untouched out there, a lot of animals. And then Oahu, because you have the best of both worlds. You have the beach and the mountains and the nightlife. Downtown Honolulu, there's always something going on. Most of the hotel put fireworks on once a week.
Really?
Yeah, so it's you're just on the beach, and there's fire dancers, so they're wearing their hula skirts, and they have fire sticks in their hand, and they dance around and throw the sticks. And yeah, you watch the fireworks. It's just it's beautiful, and everybody's always nice because everybody's in a good mood all the time.
Sure.
So
that's amazing. Well, so Gabby's going to be at Fitcon this afternoon. By the way, tell everybody where they can find you, either on social. Do you have a website or anything like that?
Yeah, Instagram is my number one social media platform I use. My username is GABI_the Austrian Oaktress, so Gabi_the Austrian Oaktress. And the reason I chose the username is because Arnold Schwarzenegger is also from Austria, and he's the Austrian Oak. So I figured I should be his female counterpart, the Austrian Oak dress.
There you go. By the way, have you been able to? I'm assuming when you went to the honor, you got to meet him, but
so actually no. So
no.
He only showed up for a couple minutes.
Oh, wow.
Because the coronavirus was going on and there was no spectators allowed. So he came in real quick, did his interview, and while he was doing that, I was actually competing. I literally was out there on the platform doing my deadlift event at that time. My sister immediately called me after, and she's like, "You won't believe this. You were just on TV right behind Arnold." But I was so focused on, because usually I don't hear or see anything else besides the judge and what I have to do during my event. So I totally missed it. But I'm hoping now that I got invited to the Pro Arnold that maybe we have a meet and greet before the actual competition. So hopefully then I can swoop in and tell him that we're actually from the same country.
Hey,
so Arnold, if you're listening, I'm coming for you.
Very nice. I don't know the progression as far as like getting pro cards or anything like that for Strongman and the Strongman events. How do you have to hit certain events in order to qualify for others? How does that progression work?
So not events per se, but competitions at a certain level.
Okay.
So usually the top 3 out of a competition get invited to nationals. And then at nationals, if you take top 3, you get your pro card.
Okay.
And then you're allowed to do one more amateur competition after that, which I did the amateur Arnolds. And then once I competed at America's Strongest, which is to compete there, you have to have your pro card. Okay. So all the other women I competed against are also all pros.
Okay.
And the top spot for that competition gets you invited to the Pro Arnold.
Gotcha. Okay. Are there, again, I should know this, but there's different levels of the Arnold as well?
Yes, there's an amateur and the Pro Arnold.
Okay. Got it. All right. Very cool.
Yeah.
That's amazing. Yeah. I don't know. I've enjoyed interviewing you just because women in weightlifting is, I don't know if the word taboo is the right way to say it, but like I love the fact that you're just able to inspire those women to like be like you and resistance train. And again, I think I was telling you earlier, like me and my wife really enjoy powerlifting ourselves because it's not only good for the health outcome, but also just like looking and feeling better about yourself.
Oh, absolutely.
You know,
when I finish my workout sessions, I feel like I'm on top of the world.
Yeah.
That just rush that you get, it's like nothing I've ever experienced other than from working out.
Yeah. I mean, if nothing else, just for the confidence, right? I mean, looking powerful, being powerful, feeling strong. I don't know. I think that's a great feeling to have. Oh,
absolutely. I wish people weren't intimidated.
Yeah.
Because I feel like I may look like I'm mean or something, but I'm actually really nice. And I try. I mean, anybody who comes up to me, I'll talk to them. I have absolutely no problem.
Yeah.
So yesterday, a few people, they kept staring, but they didn't come over. So eventually, I was like, I'm just going to go over there and just going to start talking to them. And then ended up having great conversation and realized we were trained at the same gyms before.
Oh, no way.
And I mean, it's such a small world. I mean, fitness industry may be huge, but at the end of the day, you're going to have something in common, even with somebody who doesn't do Strongman.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I found the fitness industry just in general to be really welcoming and inviting. I know bodybuilding might be cutthroat, but like Strongman and powerlifting, those two seem to particularly to be just super friendly and open and inviting to people.
Absolutely.
So, well, thank you so much for being willing to do this. I really appreciate it.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
No problem. And we'll definitely see you over at Fitcon later this afternoon.
Sounds good. See you guys there.
See you guys. Thank you so much. Really appreciate it. Thank you for listening. Please give FreedomCast a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts or wherever you listen to podcasts. It would mean a lot to our business. Plus, it's fun to read y'all's reviews. See you next time.